Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms.
You may have believed that at the age you are, you're pretty savvy. But the critics nowadays are a lot savvier. And sometimes we get taken because we don't realize that we're being scammed. Now, if a loved one were if a loved one were to call you up and tell you that they were in trouble, whether they were in the hospital or maybe detained by police and needed some money fast, you might not automatically react with the thought, well, let me check this out. You might panic. And if they say, I need money now, you might not think. You might just send the money. Well, that's a very common scam. There are those who have perfected this and those who have fallen for it. A few years ago, a friend of mine said that, and of course, she was living abroad, and she got a call from back home that her mother was in the hospital and needed money now, and the hospital wasn't taking her insurance payment, and she needed an emergency operation, and she was about to spend the money to wire it to the place where they said her mother needed that money right away. And then a friend of hers told her, wait a minute, are you sure? Have you called your mother? Well, once she called her, she realized, oh, this was a scam. When she told me that, I thought, now why wouldn't you think that would be the first thing you would have thought of? But a few years later, it happened to me. And thankfully, I remembered her story. It was right around the time of my nephew's birthday. And we got a call from a male voice. And because, he's far away, I thought, oh, is this John? Well, of course, he said, yes. And then he proceeded to tell me this long story about he needed some money because he got into trouble and got into jail and he needed money wired, and can grandma help him out? Because first he asked to talk to his grandmother, and I put her on the phone. And then when he started asking for money because he's in jail, well, good thing I know my nephew. He's not likely to be in jail. And I realized it was a scam, and we hung up right away. But if that had not happened to my friend, I might have engaged him a little longer and might have even considered, oh, maybe he is in trouble. But good thing it had already happened to a friend of mine. And I knew that these kinds of things happen, especially if someone knows how to press just the right button. And if you give out too much information before you realize you're not talking to who you thought you were talking to. So, sisters, there are so many scams that happen, whether it is on the internet or over the phone, and seniors are especially targeted. So how can we help people not make the mistake of sending money to someone they don't know and being scammed?
Last month, AARP magazine came out with a cover story about scams. They had several articles of several different scams that are actually targeting seniors, like you said, because people think, oh, seniors don't know what's going on. but they have gotten quite a number of young people as well, and they have destroyed families. Now, I got an email from a friend of mine, and we actually worked together on BSF, so I knew who she was. But in this email, she said that first I got a question, do you use Amazon? And I sent the text back, yes, I use Amazon. And then the question was, I'm wondering if you could help me. I have a niece who's in the hospital who's at stage 4 mesothelioma, and I just want to put a smile on her face. I tried to send her some money through Uber Eats, but it will not accept my payment. Can you send me the money and I will pay you back? I was a little suspicious because, first of all, I thought, well, I haven't heard from you for a while. And the first thing you're doing is asking me for money. I called her up, and she was so relieved that I had called her. Her email had been hacked. Someone was sending out this message to all her friends. She didn't know who was paying and who wasn't, but it was a scam. And she says, oh man, I wish everybody would call and check because I would never do this. And now some people are out of money that they can't get back. Now, I will tell you the current scam that is going pretty heavily, and that is the Publishers Clearinghouse. Publishers Clearinghouse has a very unique way of rewarding people. But this is what I got, and I got it a number of different times. First, I got an email that told me I had won a lot of money. And I thought to myself, well, that's weird because I haven't filled out any of those publisher clearinghouse things in like months, maybe even a year. But I thought, well, because I think the first question they asked me was, have you ever? I got a call following up one of the texts I got from them, and they asked me, had I ever used Publishers Clearinghouse, forms or whatever, and I said yes, I had. And then they wanted to tell me that I had won money and it could pay for the next years of my life, getting 1,000 a month and all this kind of stuff. And I ran this by my husband. My husband went online and checked out Publishers Clearinghouse website. One of the things that they say is that they will never call you and say you got money. They will never email you and say you got money. They will never text you and say you got money. They will do exactly as you have seen it on television. They show up at your house with a big check, balloons, and Ed McMahon tells your surprise face that you have won all this money. And and you watch these things, you think, oh, those aren't real. But I actually have a friend whose daughter really did win. She really is getting $1,000 a month for the rest of her life. She's putting that money away for her children and grandchildren. And they really did come to her house with the balloons, with the big envelope. And she had never bought anything, but she had, engaged in some of the Publishers Clearinghouse thing. Now, one of the things that is really dangerous for seniors are those romance scams. They get
Oh, yes.
in a relationship
Yes.
and you are talking back and forth with this person thinking you may be a widow, newly divorced, or long time single. These people go after you. And then when you've gotten entrenched in what you think is a real relationship, I think one of the stories in AARP actually said how the woman was supposed to meet with the guy, but he always kept canceling and never showing up at their date. And then he needed money for something.
Yeah, that's
gave
the
it to him.
scam.
Okay, let me break in here. One, I gotta say one thing first. If Ed McMahon shows up at your house, call Ghostbusters because he's dead.
Will not be Ed McMahon anymore.
Yeah, it won't be McMahon, but if he shows up, call Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters.
So that's one thing. But Barbara, you're right about that. And actually, a close friend had this happen to a relative with the romance scam. And she realized it was exactly like that. They're always better than you think. I even actually had someone, when I was on Twitter, try to engage me and started asking all kinds of things, even though I said right away, look, I'm married. And then something just told me, let me find out who this is. And because he kept trying to ask more and more questions, like, where are you? And all these kind of things. So I went out and I did like a reverse image search.
Mm-hmm.
And this picture that this person had been using showed up. And I said, so the next time he reached out to me, he was always DMing me on Twitter. And I answered him. I says, guess what? I was born at night, but not last night. I blocked him. And that was it, because I knew it was a scam. And this is how they get you right away. But one of the things, and this is, like you say, they do target seniors. But any of us who live in a place where we have tolls have to pay tolls. And I have a transponder on my car because I'm a resident here. But if you were to drive through Massachusetts, you will get something in the mail if you don't have a transponder, because they don't have the like little booths anymore. So you pay by the plate. They take a picture of your plate. They send you that, it's, pay by the plate. However, this is a scam that you will get a text on your phone saying that you have an unpaid toll.
Yes.
Click on that.
Mm.
And then, you put in your information, and now they have all your information.
Mm-hmm.
It's so prevalent, and it doesn't matter, because you're always thinking, oh, I traveled to Indiana. Maybe I did have that. Don't click on anything.
Don't click on it. I got that text, and I sent them back a text saying, I haven't been to any tolls. This is a scam. Lose my number.
Yes. There are so many scams. It's unbelievable. And they don't just target seniors. They target all kinds of, because everybody does that. Amazon also, that I had a scam that I got something from Amazon. And for one thing, if you get an email and it's always something a little weird, just kind of toggle over what the address is.
Yeah.
And what the real address, where it's coming from. That's one way to stop scam.
Yeah.
The other thing is to go to that site and check it out. Now, I got something from Amazon saying, this is back before I was boycotting Amazon. I don't do Bezos right now, but I got an email from Amazon, and it looked like it was Amazon, saying that my credit card had expired. Now, I happen to know that it didn't, because when my credit cards expire. So I go online and I'm looking, and they're asking me to put in the card. And I said, that's not right. And so I clicked out of that, went onto the Amazon site. Unfortunately, I had the app on my phone, and I'm looking down here and I don't see it. And and I realized, so I took a screenshot of that and sent that to Amazon, because they wanted you to let them know. That's a scam. Another scam is PayPal.
I was about to say PayPal. As a matter of fact, I had to change all my password to PayPal, because they sent an email, making it look like it was PayPal, and then of course he answered the email, and it's not PayPal, and you've given them all your information, and then next thing I know, they've charged them a bunch of things on my PayPal account. So I contacted my bank, they shut it down, I changed my passwords. So always don't answer any emails from any companies. Go directly to.
In fact, PayPal will send you something saying, "Oh, you're being charged $400 and something for whatever," and you know that you didn't.
Yes.
So you're going to automatically click on that and say, "Oh, I didn't dispute that." Don't do that. Go to the PayPal site. Look for your history.
Right. If it's not in there, then that means it's a lie.
It's a lie.
Another thing, what is it? iCloud. They will say your iCloud storage is expired, and you click on it, and it's not iCloud, but they will get your
information,
card information, and then charge you for some weird thing that has nothing to do with iCloud or storage or anything. So I had to go to the bank again and reverse that charge and block them and all of that, change my cards. So I've had to change my bank cards like 3 different times because of scams on email, because you're thinking it's the company, and you're thinking, okay, well, this, like you say, oh, the card's expired, or this has happened, or you're out of storage. I mean, PayPal, all these things that you trust.
I'm just
But
out.
never click on anything sent to you in email.
Boy,
Yeah.
and not only that, you will also get a thing in your either in your email or a text
A
that
text.
says we're trying to deliver a package
Ah,
Yes.
that
Yes.
you need to pick up this package or whatever the thing is they want you to do. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, I didn't order anything. Or people who are sending me stuff know my address. They'll say something like, can't be delivered because
Yes.
of a
Yes.
faulty address or some crazy thing.
mhm.
Don't click on that.
Yeah, that you got a package. And look, I didn't order anything, and if I did, if it doesn't come, oh well. But but
Yeah.
all of that, all of those are scams.
So when we talk about scams, we have to always remember that we can all be scammed. And don't feel stupid if you do
Right.
it. Sometimes you just mindlessly say, because back when Amazon and I were friends, I had stuff to the house just about every day,
Mhm.
and if I didn't have it, Sarah had it coming every day. So I would have automatically thought, oh, what is this? But I don't, since I don't mess with them right now. uh, um I'm not looking for anything, and I'm certainly not looking for something that says, oh, your credit card has expired. Always go to the site. If you get an email, if you get PayPal, if you get, I so far this hasn't happened on Cash App or Venmo. They seem to be okay. But
So
anytime
far,
there's a problem, go to the site
go
itself.
to the actual company
App,
site.
if you have the app, or go to what you know is the site and say, I just got this. Is this legit? And most of the time, they
Mhm.
want the same thing with your bank. The same
Yes.
thing with your bank. There are plenty of things that will look like Bank of America or US Bank,
Mhm.
whatever. And of course, when we talk about our money, we get kind of like possessive because we work hard for our money. So,
But anything can be imitated in an
yeah,
email. That's why you have to check if you got an app on the phone. Check your app, or like you say, check the actual site
check the site, check the
and
app,
call
check
the
the
bank.
history, call them, call the bank. If somebody calls you on your phone and they say they're from the bank, and then they want your PIN, or they want this or they want that,
Mhm.
say, you know what, let me call you back. And then you call the bank from the number on your card or something, or you should have your bank info
Mhm.
saved on your phone, and you call them back if it's a scam. Because sometimes we have had things where somebody has hacked into a card. I've had cards hacked into, and
Mm.
usually it'll be, I had one that it was in California, and the charge was like $1.76. Well, that always alerts them, because they know that when they get those numbers and somebody charges a little amount, they're trying to see if it goes through.
Yeah, and then they'll charge a bigger amount.
So
Yeah.
get that. Okay, they should know who you are. So that's one of the scams that they use. But one thing that Naima, you were talking about when Barbara's son called you and was in jail. The thing is,
Oh, okay, I know John will not be going to jail.
yeah, jail.
And
And
the story just got bigger and bigger. First it was, well, I had an accident with my car, and then they told the car, and then I got arrested. So the story just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And
because
pretty soon he
more,
went from needing 2,000 to needing 5,000. And then that's when, like, okay, this is a lie.
yeah,
You know?
and yeah,
And
and they
not only that, he wouldn't be calling you. He'd
He
be
would not be
calling
he would call his
first.
parents if it was an emergency. If he had to call somebody, he would call
but
them
but
first.
but AI can also
Imitate a voice.
imitate a voice.
Yeah, that's an important thing to
So
know.
you have to be aware of that. You also have to be aware of when someone calls you and says, and this is an old one, can you hear me? Can you hear?
Oh, I was gonna say
Yeah.
that. Yeah, do not say yes.
Do not
Do not
say
All
say
they need
anything.
is
Hang
a
up the
word,
phone.
hang
and
up
they'll
the phone,
imitate it.
and they can imitate
They
it.
can
And I
imitate, yeah.
actually, at one time, and I went to, and I, as soon as I said yes, then I realized, oh no. So I called the phone company, because I want to make sure that they didn't charge something to my phone, because they were trying, because they
Mhm.
would have switched. That's back when we had long
Mhm.
distance services. And so I
Mhm.
changed it so that I had to actually make the call to change to a long distance service. And that
Yeah.
used to be the way some of these companies would do this, is that they would change your service on your phone by you saying yes. But be
Oh,
careful. Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
You
Oh
just
yeah, all kinds of they can have you say yes to all kinds of things. Once they get that one word in your voice,
yes.
you
sky's
can
the
be
limit.
I call
duplicated.
They can
snitching.
duplicate it. Yeah.
Hi, how you doing? Can you hear me okay? Hang up the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I got one for you authors out there. You may get a scam call by a publishing company saying, "Oh, we saw your book and it will definitely reach our audience, and we would like to work with you, get you published here." And they go on, and it sounds like some great opportunity to have your book further published, further sold in other places. Most of those kinds of places are writer scams. I have some group that I am part of where they will send you regularly in your email scams to look out for as writers and authors, because these people, and it's not like these companies don't exist. They do exist, but they don't deliver. They do not get you published. What they do is try to scam you out of a certain amount of money, and then they want to come after you again and say, "Oh, we need more money for this, that, and the other."
Mm.
And not only do they do this once, but they are extremely persistent. I have had to block these people because they have called me and called me and called me and been extremely annoying. And I remember once I said, "Is this a real person?" "Yes, this is a real person." I'm so done with this crazy stuff. But the truth is, there are scams out there, and the bottom line is, if you are just a little bit greedy, they will come after you.
Or kill.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. If someone calls you and tells you that you won something,
Mm.
it's not going to cost you anything. If
That's right.
I buy a lottery ticket, which I do when it gets really high, because apparently 50 million is enough. It has to be 400 million before I'll buy the ticket. Uh, but if I actually, or when I actually win, they'll take their money, the state and the feds will take their money off the top. They're not going to tell me to pay the taxes off of that. They're going to take their money right away. So if somebody calls you and says, "Oh, you won this amount of money, but you have to pay the taxes on it," and
Yeah.
Oh.
hang up the phone. If
Mm.
if you win, Uncle Sam's going to get his money right away. He's
Yeah.
not asking
Not going to be asking for it up front.
he's not going to be asking for it up front because he knows he's going to get it. So don't be so short-sighted. Be careful if anyone starts this sense of urgency. Anytime you have
Yeah.
to do something right now.
Right. That's a scam.
Okay.
Hurry up and do this. You gotta hurry before your iCloud expires in 24 hours. You gotta hurry and send the money.
You lose your opportunity.
Yeah.
There's also check scams where
Oh.
you're offered some product, but you have to, and they promise that they're going to pay you, and they will send you a check, but the check is fraudulent. It's not real money, and it
Yes.
ends up coming out of your account when you try to deposit it.
Oh.
That happened to someone that I used to know. He was a young man, and I was alerted because someone had come up to him and says, "Oh, we can't get this check deposited. It's a real check. Can you go to your bank and maybe you can put the money in," and blah blah blah. And those are things. And what happens is that they end up taking that money out of your account. And
Yeah.
I told the person, "Look," or actually I told the person who knew the person, "Tell them, don't do this. This is a scam." And because someone will come to you and say, "Well, I'll give you part of this if you do this for me," you know what? You can, if a check is legitimate, they can go to the bank that check is written on.
That's right. If it's legit, even if they don't have an account there, if it's written on that bank, they can cash it.
So
they might have to pay a fee, but they can cash it if it's legit.
If it's legit. So don't cash any checks for anyone, even if they say, "Well, that." Think about the Nigerian prince that we all are related to.
Right. Yes. I'll give you the money. I just need to deposit it, and just give me your bank information.
Yes. So
I think everybody in the nation has had that Nigerian prince that tried to,
And some
get
of these
your money
people are
deposited.
dangerous. You know, there's a story of this young man who is so infuriated that he had been taken out of thousands of dollars. He actually flew over to Africa and tried to chase down these people that had scammed him. They were part of some kind of criminal gang. He
Wow.
got murdered.
That's pretty horrifying.
You cannot get these people yourself.
Yes.
No, you
know
can't.
There's an actual movie, I think it's called, I want to say it's called Thelma. And it's based on the story of I think it was Richard Roundtree's last movie before he died. And it was based on a true story of this woman who was scammed by that whole grandson thing. And she actually hunted down these people and got her money back. And it's based on a true story. And it was played for laughs. It wasn't as funny as it could have been, but it was really, it just really goes to show you that, you know, we're all targets. And because she knew her grandson, it didn't even occur to her to call because it just so happened he was kind of on the outs with his parents. So she could see why that person he would call her instead of his parents. So this is the thing. And then of course she felt really stupid when she talked to him because she wasn't that savvy. This is like happened a few years ago. But this is the thing. All of us can be. All of us can be just thinking at the time when you get an email or a text and you say, "Oh, click on this for this." Don't.
Don't click on anything. Don't give anybody your credit card information that you're not sure it's the right company and none of that. I mean,
your bank will never call you and ask you for your PIN number.
No, they will not.
Yeah, they will not. And this is the thing is that all of us can be scammed just by like being a little tired, not even being greedy. You know, you're thinking
worried about your child. Somebody calls says that your child's in trouble. Always call.
Always call the person who emails you or texts you. Pick up the phone and call them and say, "Are you all right?"
Yeah, don't text because
get a voice. Get a voice.
Get that person.
Yes, because you never know. A person's phone could have been stolen, and so you still, you want to make sure that you talk to the person and reassure yourself before you send any money anywhere. So, well, we thank you all for listening. Please pay attention. If it doesn't feel right, it's probably not right. Trust your instincts.
If it's too good to be true, probably
is. So until next time, make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can get the notices and the little bell will ring when we're live, so you can join us every Sunday at 5 Central, 6 Eastern. And until next week, I'm Naima.
I'm Cheryl.
I'm Barbara. We are 3 Black moms. I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're 3 Black moms.